evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight we have race number 2 for season 12 here in the Casual Sim Racers League GT3 series, and it takes us to Portugal. The Algarve International Circuit is going to play host here tonight, and this is one that is certainly a little bit newer here to iRacing. It's been touched, once or twice here and there within the series that we've covered here on CRN, but this is the first for me here to be in the booth for Algarve, and in fact, first laps taken here at the track, at least in a GT3 car. I've got around Portimao here in the F1 cars here and the F1 game, but never out here with the GT3s. And the only thing I can say is, if you like roller coasters, this is certainly the place to be, because this thing has got some just unbelievable elevation changes. It's got some blind corners that you're looking at the A-pillar, depending on the car that you're in, trying to pick your points to turn in and everything like that. And let alone the fact that some of the hairpins here, you better like first gear, because you're gonna have to really get down there on speed to rotate these cars through here. But that's for these drivers out here to do. I can sit up here in the booth and join my buddy Jimmy up here. Corlham, we're joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, you've been out here in Portugal, and you tend to like this track from the sounds of it, but man, I mean, it's the first place I've ever been motion sick, and I don't even have a motion rig.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge with all the altitude changes, a few blindish corners, and a lot of the car can get upset really easy on some of these corners because of the way the camber and the weight shift and all that stuff. So it is going to be a challenge for the drivers. It's a lot of fun. They do get a chance to get full throttle, go down the front stretch there. So you can see a little bit of everything tonight. Great opportunities to pass in a lot of places, and I think some of these drivers, depending on how confident they are, will attempt some unique passes and may try to make things go too wide. So it's going to be a fun one here to watch, and looking forward to it, actually.
Well, I mean, most of the turns here, I think all the turns really have some curbing on the inside, but one thing I did notice is the curbing on the inside of some of these corners, you might as well just put a wall there. I mean, that curbing is about a foot high, and in some places you got a little bit of curbing, and then it's just like a barrier on the inside of these corners, and you clip that the wrong way, you could be doing some damage just by hitting the curb.
Yeah, you definitely want to meet the apex, not go over the apex. Even got to be careful running off on the exits of turns, as that can cost you an X and possibly a slowdown depending on where you're at. So it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a challenge. I think it's gonna be a great race here tonight. Obviously, looking at the lineup now as they're still finishing up qualifying here. Christopher Hamilton up on top right now with a 142.54 with the Porsche. So a lot of Porsches here tonight. I did come out here tonight, did a little bit of practice, but was in the Ford because that was the car that a lot of the drivers used last week. But I don't see a single soul in the good old Ford Mustang.
No, not out here tonight, at least not yet. Maybe somebody sneak in here late, but it's pretty much dominated by a ton of Porsche out there. There is a couple of Lamborghinis towards the top of the order with Jancic and Reiner out there in the Lambo. A few Acuras kind of mixed in through the field, a couple McLarens back there, but predominantly it is a ton of Porsches out there for tonight's race. Last week we were at Watkins Glen International, certainly a track that is very familiar to a lot of drivers out there, and I'm sure a lot of you out there in CRN Nation. And we've seen a very good race. Craig Jancic grabbing yet another win here to start off the season on top of the boards. Hamilton finished second. A rare third place for Dan Morera, as we got to finally get up there and talk to him up there in the booth. Anthony Hutchinson was the one that grabbed the win in the AM class, as he finished 6th place overall, looking like he's pretty strong out here again tonight, and maybe strong enough that he may get the early Battlefield promotion and get jumped up from the AM class to the Pro class. We'll see how everything shakes out as the night plays on here, but 45 minutes on tap as usual. Race number 2 here on the season. Going to be a good one. This is certainly, in my opinion, kind of the exact opposite of Watkins last week. Last week, a lot of familiarity with it. The drivers probably had tons and tons and tons of laps on it, regardless if it's GT3 or anything else. Here, a little bit newer, maybe some drivers touching it for the first time here tonight. So we'll see how they can handle it. See if they can get this thing through and clean for 45 minutes. One thing, Jimmy, there's quite a bit of runoff on a lot of these corners, and of course you're going to take some some off tracks and some slowdowns potentially, but ultimately you really have to make a mistake to kind of get into the walls and make some major damage.
Yeah, you talked about the curbs, and you hit them the wrong way, upset the car, you got them driving straighter than you want to. Do have time to kind of catch the car and whatnot, but yeah, there's a lot of areas where you can run off the track and still be safe. So overall, I think it's going to be a pretty good, clean race. Some drivers might have to go wide to avoid something, but definitely don't want to go and hit that drive over the apex too much on a lot of these corners. You talked about them high curbs on the inside, and they don't feel good. I can tell you that right now. I know one thing a lot of drivers like to do is come down that front straightaway and then kind of go over as far left as possible, and you end up going over the red and white curbing, but you need to straddle it before you get on the brakes, because if your tire's on it, it kind of breaks the rear end around just a little bit, and it makes the car feel real funny going down into turn 1. So it's an area where you'll probably see, depending on how hard the drivers are pushing, go off there. Obviously the last and final turn, you're coming down the hill, and you can go faster than you think you can, but you just got to get that front end to be going in the right direction before you get on it, or you're going to be off track. So it's going to be a fun one here. I know it is, and it looks like they're about done with qualifying. It looks like the timer's still ticking, but definitely almost finished up here, as these drivers will be taking the grid and getting ready for a 45 minutes race here at Algarve. Now, I do know that this track is used on some of the special events. Matter of fact, I had the pleasure of, there's a fairly new track, and it came out, and iRacing has occasionally during the seasons they'll have a 24-hour event like every other week or something like that, and this was one of the areas that they actually did it. So that's why I have so much time on the track recently. I ran the LMP2 here during my last season with Core as well, and had a lot of fun and a great battling with a few of the drivers out there as well. So right down to the wire, matter of fact, as two of us were neck and neck, and obviously catching them off tracks. And after you catch off tracks too many times in Core, you have to serve a drive-through. So we both had to serve a drive-through at the exact same time, and it was a drag race down pit lane at I think it was 40 miles an hour. So it was kind of funny as we were kind of laughing, because the one guy, he had it, and he had the black flag, and I just got mine, and he was wondering what the heck I was doing, but his mistake on exit, and then ended up costing him the position. So, but benefit to me, but that's okay. I'll take it. And but we're on here for tonight, looking at these drivers. They are gridding now, so I guess we can go ahead and go down the starting order here for tonight's race. And it looks like Christopher Hamilton will start on the pole here tonight. So Craig Jancik's going to have his hands full, as Chris seems to like this track. As there's two different, Chris is in the Porsche, Craig Jancik's in the Lamborghini, right there on that front row. Then the second row is going to be Devon Young and Bryce Reiner, and then you have Tyler Torville and Anthony Hutchinson for your third row, Christian Torres and Frank Pisano for row number 4, Herb Pineda and Jake Modi back there in row number 5, Stephen McLean and Cesar Torres back there in row number 6. Joe Sullivan putting in a pretty good time there, and Stephen Perusa on row number 7, Randy Ayers and Todd Terville on row number 8, Max Dalton and Brandon Dilemma back there in row number 9, Brandon Potts and John Espada back there in row number 10. Then you have William Burrell, Jay Little, Paul Bailey, Stefan Price, Jason Potts, and Savani Magrilla? Not Magrilla. Matt Magrill. Sorry. Monkeys are coming out, Savannah.
Well, it looked like for a little bit it was going to be a lighter field out here tonight. When I got in here, I was about halfway through practice, and it looked like there was going to be maybe around 18 to 20 cars out there in the field. But it didn't surprise me. I mean, again, this is a newer track, and maybe some drivers deciding not to show up tonight and not wanting to buy it, whatever the case is. But no surprise, we end up cracking over 25 cars out here. A little bit lighter than what we typically see here for CSRL, but still 26 in the field, and it's being led by Chris Hamilton again. We say again because he had the pole at Watkins Glen before Craig Jancic stole it from him, going down the backstretch, and really it was close battling, but once Jansen gets to the lead, it's kind of tough to wrangle it back from him, or wrangle a win away from him. So we'll see if Hamilton learned anything from last week at the Glen to try and get the top spot here tonight. He's got the matching safety car paint scheme out there for the Porsche, and maybe trying to confuse Greg a little bit at the front. But again, the Porsche all the way through the field. I mean, you look at the top 18 cars. All of them are Porsches except for Jancic and Young being in the Lamborghini. I'm sorry, Jancic and Reiner being in the Lamborghini, and then Steve Marusa in the Audi. Other than that, the top 18 covered with Porsches, and even a couple more Porsche with Paul Bailey and Jason Potts towards the back of the field. But again, I mean, if there was ever a time that I was absolutely happy that I had triple screens, let alone, even if I just had one screen, I think I'd be happy here at Portimao, because I could not imagine this thing in a motion rig. I certainly could not imagine and don't even want to think about this thing in VR. I mean, it's got to be just horrendous in VR trying to get around this track. Because you see these elevations, there's rarely a flat spot. I think the front stretch and going through turns like 1, 2, and 3, that's about the flattest part of the track.
Yeah, it's pretty much your flattest part of the track, and obviously it's the opportunity to kind of take a little bit of break, maybe stretch your fingers out or relax your hands just a little bit. Obviously, drivers should be driving with light hands to be able to control that car to the best of their ability and do it and use it get done. But definitely, like I said, it's going to be a good one. This track does have great racing, and it's like it's meant for these cars.
Well, pace car is about to pull off. They're coming around the final corner here and getting ready to set the stage for race number 2 here for the CSRL GT3 series. Again, the front row is Chris Hamilton, Craig Jancic, Devin Young, Bryce Reiner rounding out to the second row. But it is in the hands of Barney to get this thing fired off. See him on the left-hand side there, waiting, and actually not throwing anything, so maybe it's Barney's brother.
Green.
There we go. We will get the green flag here, and we are racing at Algarve International Circuit, and already tight racing going down into turn 1. Hamilton's going to have a slight edge on the inside, clips the curb a little bit though. It's going to slow him up. Jancic goes wide, and it may be enough to get him the lead. I think if you're Hamilton here, you got to fight here. You got to try and wrestle this lead back, make him fight a little bit for this win. And it gets pushed off just a little bit, but you see Hamilton is indeed fighting, going down hard braking area here. This area right here kind of reminds me of turn number 5 at Road America, where you're coming down coming down a big hill there, hard braking area in the left-hand corner, and a switchback there for Hamilton, and then a switchback right again from Jancic. It is close battling at the front.
Yeah, definitely close battling, and obviously Chris trying to give room, make it safe. So, you don't want to wreck out of the front this early on. I mean, obviously it's easier to maybe let that driver go and follow him around a little bit, and kind of so you get back on your line. We can see Chris doing what he can, trying to get around Jancic and just kind of keeping it tight, going too wide. And this is what we talk about when drivers respect each other, giving each other room, and it takes. This is where racecraft comes into it, Carl. A lot of drivers aren't used to going off the racing line. They just want to try to get around there the best they can, but you have to be able to run those alternate lines. And I can tell from experience that if you can do that, it makes running in the rain a lot easier as well, as you're always in search for the driest of the wet lines in order to get around here when it does rain. And it's definitely a challenge, but Jansik's going to lead that first lap as they head down into turn one. We'll see if Chris can keep him in check and maybe get the opportunity to get back around that number 88 in Jansik.
I think another reason why Hamilton needs to push hard, and you see Devin Young right behind him as well. All these drivers in the Porsche, you know the stipulation or the kind of the knowledge behind the Porsche. It eats through tires, and the tires do not last throughout the run. So if he's going to use them up, he's got to use them early, and he's got to try and get around Jansik and try and get back to this lead if he can, if he's got anything in that tank. But I mean, he's got to kind of keep his eyes on the mirrors too, because Devin Young peeked in there a couple times to try and steal away second place. As we got a bit of a battle back a little bit further here, as looks like Frank Bassano and Christian Ortiz-Torres doing a little battling for 6th and 7th place. And it is Bassano that takes it over.
Yeah, a lot of it's that opportunity right now. You're seeing a lot of single file, and I think give the other drivers, give it a peek, see if they can throw that driver off in front of them. But they got to be careful, because you can see what happened here is the 99 Herbert Pineda gets that inside, is able to take that spot away from the 11.
Just back and forth, up and down all throughout this track. It does not give you really any kind of a breather, but a little bit of a gap forming here at the front, as the top three kind of breaking away just a little bit by about 1.7 seconds ahead of Tyler Corville, having a good run right now in 4th place. Bryce Young rounding out the top 5. Then you got Bassano, Pineda, Ortiz-Torres, and Audi. The top 9 are pro drivers. 10th place is your first running AM-class driver, and he's right behind this pack right here. That's Anthony Hutchinson looking to go back-to-back here. Cesar Colon-Torres in 11th place right behind him, but a nice little gaggle of cars right here as Bassano tries to fight back here against Herbert Pineda. Again, this battle for 6th and 7th.
Yeah, it's one thing when you lose a spot, obviously you want to try to do what you can to maybe sneak in there, and you see them looking at maybe alternate routes, and the 11 really trying to maybe stir up the car that got by, as he was maybe trying to stir up the driver in front of him to maybe attempt a pass. But right now they're in line, or going nice and smooth here, keeping it close. So people, I'm sure the other drivers are out there just waiting for the opportunity. The tires will start wearing down, the car's starting to tighten up a little bit, or maybe even just lose it just a little bit around some of these corners. So right now you can see a move there to the inside, but just getting out that traction down and that ability to make a buy completely. Well, we see a little switch back there going down the corner, giving each other room with the 007, makes a buy the 2.
Well, that's I think what you're going to be able to see a lot here if you keep it close. Like you said, Jimmy, there's tons of passing opportunities here, and it's going offline. Again, as you mentioned, there are a lot of these corners you have to kind of really stay wide to get a good exit out of the corners. But what that does is, like we've seen there, it opens up that inside line, and it's a slower line diving out of the inside like that, like Cesar Colon-Torres did when he made the pass there on Anthony Hutchinson. But it gives you that opportunity to make a pass, and it doesn't allow that guy on the outside to cut down onto that inside and kind of take the preferred line going out of the corner. So a good job making the pass there, moves himself up into the top 10, and it's kind of those, not necessarily a dive bomb move, but a late move to the inside of some of these corners when these drivers are looking to go to the outside and kind of cut it in and get a good run. But at the front,
Hamilton in the lead.
It is Hamilton, as he did end up making the pass to get back in the lead. We'll take a look back and see how it happened here. Got to the inside, and this track has a lot of just real tight hairpins right there, and really not much Jansen could do there. Hamilton had the position on him going into the corner, and now has a position on the track. In first place is the 64.
Yeah, so it's a good move there by Chris, and good heads up by Jancic. Obviously knowing that there's a lot of race left, only 6 minutes in, and plenty of time to get that back, and you don't want to make a mistake that could cost you falling back even farther. But the 15 there of Devin Young definitely looking to take that same opportunity. So maybe the Lamborghini falling off just a little bit early as far as the tires or just the way it handles on the track. So we know that Jansen can pretty much drive any kind of car, but can he keep that Lamborghini in touch with Chris Hamilton now to not let him start pulling away?
Yeah, Devin Young certainly looking a little bit feisty here tonight. We've seen him kind of hang towards the front in a couple of races, but here he is in the 3-car breakaway at the front. He is not letting go of Hamilton or Jancic, but got to give it to the man kind of leading that second group right there. Tyler Torville having a good run so far in the Porsche as well. He's holding off the other Lamborghini at the front, Bryce Reiner, in that top 5. But it is a very close battle between 1 through 3, and then 4th and 5th right there together as well. Haven't really seen too many issues, unfortunately. Did just see one issue right here from our man. Clicked on the wrong one there. Yeah, there we go. Joe Sullivan just getting a little bit loose, a little bit out there in the marbles, and you see just outside the racing line there. You see how much these marbles kind of build up, and you get out there, if the back end is already kicking out, it's going to keep kicking out. If you're going in there straight, it's just going to keep pushing.
Yeah, I think, I was just kind of seeing what happened there, and, knowing and have driven the Porsche before, Joe might just got a little excited, maybe downshifted a little bit too soon, slowing the rear end down, and ended up pulling it around as he was mid-corner on that one here. But look at the 24, looking to make a move on the 22 on that inside. So now they are side by side, looking to swap places here for P number 4.
Easy for you to say, as there's quite a few places on this track where it's back and forth, back and forth. I mean, you got turns like 1 through 3 is all going to the right, but for the most part, you go left, then you go right, and then you go left, then you go right, and you just go back and forth. So if you find yourself on the outside of one corner, if you can hold it there, you very well could have the inside of that next corner. Maybe that's how you make the pass. But right now, Torville still holding off Reiner for 4th place. Take a look back a little bit further in the field, and we'll key on Randy Ayers, because it's like Max Dalton was blinking a little bit. Looks like he's back in here in the mix. But Max Dalton right now in 15th place, trying to hold off Ren De Lima. You see him having just a little bit of connection issues right now. De Lima looking to get that Magic Man Old Spice paint scheme into in the top 15, but right now just holding steady here in 16th behind Max Dalton. A little bit further back in the pack as well, we got Jason Potts and Jay Little doing a little bit of battle for 22nd and 23rd. Little in the McLaren, the top running McLaren right now, holding off Jason Potts behind him in the Porsche. But everyone chasing the 64 out here tonight. It is Chris Hamilton at the front. Very little lead, half a second lead over Craig Jancic. Devin Young, another half second back. Then he got 3.5 back to Bryce Reiner now making the pass, but Tyler Toyville fighting back. You see it right there. Side by side, heading into the final sector of this track, and now it's all right-handers coming out here. So Torville gonna retake the position, cut over to the inside, and he's gonna hold that Lamborghini back just a little bit longer. We'll see if Reiner gets a run down the front stretch, maybe a dive bomb into turn number 1. Already looking to the right side here, heading down the front stretch, but he's gonna have to tuck back in.
Yeah, it's a lot of times the drivers will do that to just kind of see how the other driver in front is going to react, and he's going to give him the opportunity, or he decides to make a later braking zone. You've seen not too long ago, you've seen Chris Hamilton have a little slip on the rear end and bunch the drivers back up. But right now, Devin Young has taken over P number 2 from Craig Jancic.
Here's how it happened in turn. Yeah. That turn 1, 2, and 3 complex, he gets in the inside. Jancic goes a little bit wide. Easy as you like. So move Devin Young up to 2nd place. So real good run there for the 15
Yeah, there's a reason that a lot of these drivers have decided to go with the Porsche. And, it's a nimble little car, and it's really good through the mid-corner, and, you know, it's as fast as some of the other cars can be coming off. It's just such a windy course, you know. I can see the other drivers using the McLaren. It's usually a pretty decent car through the corners, but the Porsche is just, I think I'm not a huge Porsche fan, but definitely I would really think about running it because of how well it does handle on some of these twisty turns and getting around here. But I just want, before we move on, just give a shout out to all the CRN fans out there watching. I see Joseph Kidwell in the chat along with Barry. So just to give you guys all a shout out. If you're out there and you're watching your favorite driver, if kind of need to know where you'd like to see them at or see how they're doing, let us know in the chat. We're more than willing to shine the cameras on those drivers and let you see how they're doing.
Yeah, give you a little camera time here to Todd Torville as he is back here in 17th position. Kind of off in a race on his own. 2.5 seconds up in front is Renan de Lima. 7.7 seconds back behind him is Brandon Potts. So nice little window here for Todd Torville to just kind of feel his way around this track and get used to it. But not doing too bad. 7th place in the M class currently right now. Up at the front, it is same thing. It is just Chris Hamilton out here, half a second lead over Devin Young, half a second back to Ray Jancic. But we are getting close to a third of the way through this race. Not necessarily pit stops just yet, but I mean, there's been tracks here before, and we've seen these drivers take 2 tires or take, you know, even sometimes 3 tires or 1 tire. With the way this track is, Jimmy, I mean, is there a preferred side of the track? I know it's a you know, clockwise track, but I don't know if necessarily, you know, right side tires are really what you necessarily want to have. I mean, there's a couple of these hairpins are left-hand hairpins.
Yeah, actually, you know, obviously with the right side's your heavy wear and tear the tire, though. You know, you come your final corner, you're trying to get in it as hard as you can, going down the hill and making a right. You get down to turn 1, you're making a right. Another little short shoot, you're making a right. So a lot of emphasis on that front left tire. You know, getting that wear and tear. Yes, there is you know, some left-hand turns which will put the pressure on the right side, but I think if I remember correctly, the left does take a little bit more of a beat in. So if I had to choose a tire, if I only had one to choose, it'd be that front left, or, you know, depending on how you're getting out of the corners, and if you're spinning the rear at all and you're lighting them up, maybe you want to change, you know, maybe that back right or back left. So, but definitely front left would be a tire of my choice, depending on how much fuel that I needed. I do know that the fueling takes quite some time here with these cars, so depending on how much they need, if the drivers have it memorized and how long, and depending on fuel, they can change that tire, and it could pay dividends in the end if they're having a problem with the car, you know, somewhere around by the time they need to take fuel. But we're about 15 minutes in. We got about 30 minutes remaining, and I want to be surprised if somebody's up there, if they feel like they're being held up, maybe taking that early pit to see if they can, you know, run in some cleaner air. But up front, it's pretty clean as they're starting to stretch out just a little bit. Christopher Hamilton starting to walk away, not from Devin Young, but Craig Jancic falling back.
Well, just to be clear, and just to kind of ease my mind a bit here, the pit road for this track, I know it kind of sweeps around that last corner on the inside, but I believe those are all coned off. I think they're going to be coming in the pits on the you know, directly when they come out of that front corner on the front stretch. Is that correct, Jimmy?
Yes. So you come down the corner, and instead of going all the way out to the left-hand side and pushing it, they're going to hug to the right-hand side. And then come on in. So it's fast. It's a fast entry, and you gotta watch you don't get that speed down the pits. And when those cars start making those, I'll definitely swap over, see if anybody gets caught, because everybody, you know, you want to have a good pit stop, it could be the place where you gain the spot, especially if you're having problems getting around somebody. But you can see them Porsches right now sliding that rear end around just a little bit here on lap 10. So 10 laps in, and already, I mean, I know these drivers are pushing the car, so, but you know, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe Craig's just kind of letting them tires cool down a little bit, see if he can stretch fuel a little bit, maybe catch them taking, you know, so you can take less fuel. Be easy on them tires for now, because there is 30 minutes, and maybe, you know, the plan is just a splash and bash, and maybe these Porsches do need to take a tire or two, and it could pay off there for Craig.
I mean, right now it's a little bit of a breakaway for the top two here of Hamilton and Young, as they are now 1.7 seconds clear of Jancic in third, who's got 5 seconds in between him and Tyler Torville. So certainly, you know, a little buffer there for Jancic if he's deciding to just kind of hang back here, save some tire and or fuel, or maybe that Lamborghini is just kind of falling off the pace here a little bit. Certainly, Bryce Reiner and his Lamborghini is not falling off the backside of Tyler Torville. Once again, a little bit of a dummy down into turn number 1, falls back into line. Harper Pineda, in the meantime, up 3 positions. He is right there in 6th place, running these two down in his Porsche. So a Lamborghini sandwiched in between the 2 Porsches here, as Pineda tries to mix it up and get into the top 5.
Yeah, trying to switch it up here a little bit, and you know, obviously you'll see those moves, you know, ducking down to the inside real quick, and you're trying to get a move, but obviously Rainer's gotta be careful doing that. Oh no! There goes the 2 off into the kitty litter. We have our first incident in the wall there, but it looks to be pretty okay. But I want to doubt if that 2, if Anthony Hutchison brings down the pits, to collect any kind of fast repair and a top off of fuel.
Yeah, it's kind of looks okay, but just the way he's driving it doesn't look like it's actually you know, handling too well for him. Last week's winner there at Watkins Glen in the AM class now is down into the 6th position in the AM class, as it is now Stephen McLean, your leader here in the number 85, over Stephen Marussia by 3 seconds here in the AM class. McLean running 11th place overall, as top 7 in the AM class all kind of tucked there together. The only one really mixing up directly in between all the AM class drivers, all the 15 AM class drivers, smack dab in the middle is Siviani Madrigal, running 18th overall, trying to hopefully get a feel for that Acura and run back up through the field.
And you're trying to do what they need to do to make some moves, but up 7 spots, that's quite impressive here at Algarve.
So we are closing in on 20 minutes into this race, and it is still Chris Hamilton by a mere half second over Devin Young at the front. Craig Jancic, Tyler Torville, Bryce Reiner for the top 5 overall, and the Pro class. In the AM class, it is Steve McLean, Steve Marussia, Randy Ayers, Max Dalton, and Renan de Lima for the top 5. But it's been a pretty good one out here tonight. I mean, we've seen the issue there by Hutchinson. But other than that, Jimmy, I mean, we've seen very, very little off tracks, and it's kind of funny. I think we've seen more off tracks at Watkins Glen by this point last week, and that's a track that everyone knows. Here, maybe just a little bit tentative, a little bit of the unknown, making these drivers a little bit more skittish to try and kind of throw those cars in there and make those mistakes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can see why it would be skittish. You know, you don't want to go off track. You don't want to damage the car. And if you're not careful in some of them, Carl, like I said, the weight transfer will just send that car for a ride, and you end up doing a 360 anyways. So a little bit of battle in here as you're on board with Raider, and now over to Torville. Got that inside. So making the Raider trying to get by the 22, just can't quite make it stick, as those two are battling out here for that 4th and 5th position.
Yeah, Pineda right there as well, and maybe Pineda close enough to try and make a move down the front stretch. It's just, I mean, you can reach out and touch each other at this point. They were so close going down the front stretch, little 3-car bump draft all the way down the front stretch, but it is still Torville, Reiner, and Pineda for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Should be getting close to pit stops at this point. Haven't really seen too many come in just yet. We see Jake Mowdy coming into the pits and now Silvini Madrigal coming in at this time as well. But other than that, everyone's still out there on the track and run this thing at least to halfway the way it seems, and it's kind of the MO of what these drivers typically do. Again, they only have 40% fuel that they start with. I believe it's 40%, so they can't make it the entire length of the race, but they can come in on lap 1 if they wanted to, because they can fill that car all the way up after the drop of the green flag. And these cars typically, depending on the track, Jimmy, they make it about 50 minutes, 55 minutes, depending on the track and how much fuel you're actually using up there. But you're close to an hour out there of track time. So again, they can come in on lap 1 if they wanted to, but most of them try to split this thing right in half, and that's what we typically see here for CSRL, is kind of right there in half, and trying to kind of either pull those tires back down and have a good second half of the run, or maybe get in there, get a set of tires, and battle out for the second half. But man, these guys right here in 4th, 5th, and 6th have been battling for quite some time, and here we go. Too wide down the front stretch, very close there. Pineda and Reiner almost touching, and Reiner kind of boxed in there as Pineda maybe going 2 for 1 here. And in turn number 1, what a move by Pineda. Thank you very much. And I don't think Reiner necessarily minded that, as now we go 3 wide heading into turn number 3. And Reiner finally looked like he had a chance, but now Pineda gets taken out by Torville. Reiner's going to get on by Pisano. Ortiz Torres also getting on by. And Torville is going to have to collect it back up here. He is now in 7th position. Pineda gets it back going here. He is in now 10th, as around the outside looks McLean, but looks like he's going to fall back and fall in behind him. But some hard racing right there. We'll try and take a look back and show you how it transpired, and we'll go back a little bit further than that, because that was really just the end of the melee right there. But this was heading down into turn number 1, already close, already bumping and banging between Pineda and Reiner. Pineda sends it in there, and it sticks for him. He makes it all the way up into 4th, but then Reiner diving it on the inside, Torville diving on the outside, and just, that's what you like to see. But right there, just a little bit too close, and Torville tried to get it back in the inside and go 3 wide again. Did not work, and Pineda gets sent around for it. But what a heck of a battle right there. We didn't even get to pit stops yet, but it looks like John Espada, another one into pit lane. Jason Potts also pit that last time, but everyone else still waiting to come in.
Yeah, you've seen when they went around there, that corner there, specifically, Carl, is pretty difficult to get up and over that crest solo, let alone 3 wide. And like you said, it wasn't quite clear enough, so maybe the 22 could have just lifted just a little bit, but they just stuck it out there a little bit wide. That's a very tough corner, and obviously more of a racing incident than anything, anything done on purpose. As you can see, how hard they are driving. You don't go 3 wide very much in road racing, let alone to some of the corners here at Algarve. So, but yeah, that was a fun one to watch, and obviously it ended up with a few incidents and spreading those drivers out just a little bit. But it's not over yet. We're at 25 minutes. We got 20 minutes to go. Drivers still out there. Pit stop should be happening here shortly. Christopher Hamilton's out to a 0.6 second lead over Devin Young, hanging right there with Christopher Hamilton. But the kind of the story is that Lamborghini not holding up, with Craig Jancic falling back in the P3, back 3 seconds from these front 2. And then you have Reiner back there, another 8.5 seconds. So a long ways to go for Bryce in order to catch these top 3. But he's going to continue to fight, I'm sure, and hopefully get himself a good pit stop and maybe catch somebody sleeping at the front.
Yeah, the top guys staying out for yet another lap. We had a few more come into the pits as Pineda into pit lane, Max Dalton, Paul Bailey, Anthony Hutchinson, and Joe Sullivan coming in, making their pit stop. Stephen Price and Jay Little doing the same. This time by Cesar Colon Torres is going to bring it into the pits from inside the top 10. but we still have a ton of drivers out there, and I'm really kind of shocked at this point because we are past the halfway point. We're down to less than 20 minutes left in this race, plus a lap, and I've not seen the top guys come in yet. Maybe Hamilton and Young, they're just, sometimes you just get in so much of a groove. You have a plan to come in around halfway, but everything just feels good. Everything is just flowing nicely, and you kind of don't want to disturb that, and you decide to stay out for an extra lap or two. Maybe that's what the case is right here. Todd Torville also coming in and getting his service done as well, but your top 12 right now yet to come into the pits.
Well, yeah, man, you know, these front two, if they were to come in now, they'd put them back all the way around at that 12th position, and, you know, have to fight around some drivers, and you can see how difficult the battling is here on the track with a lot of the drivers to make their way around. So faster or not, if you got to get around a slower car, it's going to slow you up just a little bit. So staying out here as long as you can might be the call, considering that most of the drivers, there is a lot of these drivers still going strong here within that top 10. They're only 30 seconds back, and that's definitely within the window of coming into pits. But as we talk about pit stops, here comes Christopher Hamilton flying in to relinquish the lead for his pit stop.
Yeah, I think this might be Chris's decision here to come in earlier than the other two to make sure that he's not going to get short pit, because we've seen that certainly play a big part so far already this season in just one race. But he is the first one into the pits. Ortiz Torres, Tyler Torville also into the pits this time, but Devin Young going to continue out there and maybe try and pull the overcut here on Hamilton. Put in a burner of in-lap here. I would expect to see him in this time. Most likely see Jancic, Reiner, Pisano, McLean, and Randy Ayers in this time as well. Brandon Potts, William Burrell, and Paul Bailey, the only other ones that have yet to come in to the pits to take their one and only pit stop here for the race. But it is currently Devin Young, Jancic, Reiner, Pisano, and McLean for the top 5. McLean is your top running AM class driver, as we are plenty ways into this race. And again, I got to give to these guys, one for having a good showing. Once again, 26 cars out there in the field, but doing a really good job. I mean, very little, unless SDK is falling asleep here tonight, I haven't seen much, even by the untrained eye here. I've seen guys go off the track, so doing a fantastic job out there. Everybody credit from us here in the booth. But Jimmy, I think since we have a little time, and since these drivers are doing such a heck of a job, let me crank them up and give everyone in CRN Nation a little love to hear it.
Love to hear it.
Sights and sounds here of the CSRL GT3 series as they rip around the Algarve International Circuit, also known as Portimao. And we get some good battles here brewing at kind of midfield here between 15, 16, and actually 14, 15, and 16. No, I was right. 15, 16, 17 here between Hutchinson, Madrigal, and Marusha. As looks like it's spread out here a little bit now, but spread out is exactly what it's kind of done here at the front. This was your top three running nose to tail earlier on in the race. These are top three now. 2 seconds in between Hamilton and Young. You've seen the undercut work well for Hamilton, got him a little bit of a buffer. Devin Young did come out in second with a nice 3-second buffer on Craig Jancic. That is your top three. Another 10 seconds back to Bryce Reiner in fourth place. Another 4.5 back to Pisano in fifth. So the top five really spread out. Then you got Ortiz, Torres, Tyler Torville that are getting a little bit close. Could be a battle here brewing pretty soon between 6th and 7th. Pineda, Colon Torres, and Maudi rounding out your top 10. All pro class drivers. Then in the M class, starting with 11th place overall, Steve McLean, Randy Ayers, Brendan DeLima, Max Dalton, and Anthony Hutchinson for your top 5. So Hutchinson's still in there in the top 5 after the big mistake there that sent him into the wall, but it looks like he's got all cleaned up and back out there. He's got some pace once again. Marusha in 6th place in the AM class as well in the midst of that battle, but it is starting to come down towards the wire. It's less than 10 minutes to go plus a lap. Jimmy, it's been a heck of a race out here so far, and this field kind of spreading out right now.
Yeah, stretching out obviously is a little bit of driver fatigue, wearing in. They're starting to set in. I'm sure. It's a very unique track where you gotta hit your marks at every corner. Remember what hill you're going over, which way you gotta turn. There's lots of stuff going on, but I see some. That was earlier or later. But yeah, they're just kind of stretch out, kind of getting around here. See if somebody will make a mistake, but not many drivers making too many mistakes here at this point of the race, as they do have about, like you said, about 8 minutes remaining before we see who the winner is. And looks like our lone BMW sitting back here in 23rd position with Espada. Oh,
just a little bit of a slide earlier from Espada, kept it on the track though. See what happened here to Stefan Price just a little bit later. And kind of the same thing, just a little bit of a mini slide. Maybe they're just they're getting a little bored, practicing a little drifting here around Portimao. And then Savannah Madrigal, one of the drivers up here in the battle. And it looks like a little bit of the same thing, just a little bit of sideways, a little bit of drifting. You'll lose that position there to Marusha, but got it back on track. I mean, that's the story of tonight right there. I mean, those are your mistakes. Those are the very little mistakes these drivers are making, but you got a battle right here. This is for position in the M class. Hutchinson to the inside, going to make it around. Brendan DeLima moves him up to 4th place. In front of them is the blinking Max Dalton. He's still out there, still blinking, but still up there in the top 3. Hopefully he's not blinking during his interview if he stays in that top 3. But DeLima doesn't look like he's content with hanging behind Hutchinson, still trying to take the battle to him to get back up in with 4th place. But at least we got one good battle here coming to the end as we're down to our final 6 minutes plus a lap.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully maybe some of these will start closing in just a little bit. Obviously, your closest battle here where we're watching, everybody else is pretty much spread out. Yeah, not really much going on. He was even a pretty decent battle towards the back there with Paul Bailey in 25th spot. So, you drive over here with CSRL, there's skill levels of a large variety, I guess, if you want to call it that. So, whether you're a little bit newer and if you like clean racing and looking for something to do on Wednesday nights, you can look up CSRL. You get with us, and we can get you in touch with who you need to talk to, or you can go ahead and head over to CSRL's Discord and apply here for Wednesday nights with Jim. So definitely always room, and they welcome new drivers. And you know, even if you're fast, you can be up there running with Christopher Hamilton, Devin Young, Craig Jancic. A lot of good competition, as you've seen early on. They had three-way battles, so they're always looking for new challenges or new people to learn from or race against. So, yeah, definitely a good spot if you're looking for a GT3 league here with CSRL. It is sponsored by a couple good sponsors as well.
Yeah, Martin Passy and 40 Racewear sponsors for the season. But you mentioned battling. I don't know if we're necessarily done with battling here for the lead. As you take a look at these last couple laps here, we'll take a look at the line, what it's going to look like here for Devin Young, and losing a tenth of a second on that lap. But you've seen the gains the previous two laps, getting a quarter second almost on lap number 22, and even another 2/10 on lap number 21. So maybe reeling in Chris Hamilton, maybe Hamilton taking his foot off the throttle just a little bit for a couple laps. But Devin Young was closing in just a little bit, and you know, threatening to have a battle for the lead here. But down now 4 minutes plus a lap. So again, an issue back here with Siviani Madrigal, and if that was Stephen Marusha. We'll try and take a look back and see how that transpired. Not sure if Madrigal knew that he was out there, but as soon as he kind of got on the front end there, really no way of getting off, and sends him off into the barrier. Ended up jumping into the pits from there. So our first casualty here tonight. Looks like Jake Mowdy back into pit lane. Not sure if there's a drive-through for maybe too many off tracks, as he is coming right back out on to the track. But
flags in the air right now is for Cesar Torres. As he possibly might have won over. I don't know what their X limit is. Hold on, I'm trying to catch that here. If it says what their X limit is.
Cesar Torres, in the meantime, stuck in a battle here with Steve McLean. This is for 9th and 10th position overall. And, not a battle for position in regards to, you know, to class, because McLean is your top running amateur class driver right now. He has got a 7.3 second buffer over Randy Ayers, who is now in second place. Anthony Hutchinson up into third, so Hutchinson may be able to get back up there and get a podium after all, and possibly because Max Dalton having some issues here. And this was the battle. You can see right there is Hutchinson and DeLima. And around goes the 91, Max Dalton. And luckily for him, the spoiler in the back popped back on there and got back going. He's still running up there in 5th. But now, Cesar Colon, as you mentioned, did have too many incidents into the pits for a drive-through. Is the 007 giving up a top 10 spot right now. And in the late stages of this race, we got a little bit less than 2 minutes to go here. Hamilton getting back on the loud pedal a little bit more, stretches out about a half a second more into the lead now, 2.7 seconds over Devin Young. If you thought Craig Jansen was holding back and trying to save some tires, trying to save some fuel, that's not the case. He is not on pace with these top two here tonight. He is back 5 seconds from Devin Young in second place. And then again, one of the biggest gaps on the track from 3rd to 4th. Jancic back to Reiner. The gap between the two Lamborghinis, they're Lambros in the pits, but they can't get close to each other right now, as Reiner 11 seconds behind at the top 3 right now, as they've certainly been the other class of the field tonight. But it is almost time for class to be over. 1 minute left in this race, plus that lap. And it looks like Hamilton maybe exercising a little bit of demons from Watkins Glen, maybe going to be able to finally cash in on that win after getting another pole here in the season.
Yeah, I'm just going through, just looking at some of the incident totals, and we'll keep that to ourselves. But a few drivers cutting it close to that magic number where they gotta go drive through. So might be why some drivers are being a little more cautious than others. As you know, we talked about, there's plenty of places to run off, and that's where those exits start building up. And drivers are allowed basically 16 incident points. So a wreck is 4, you spin the car out, that's 2. Sometimes you can get car contact, that's only 2. But most of the incidents come from off track. So, you know, cutting a corner, drifting out too far, stuff like that will get the drivers an incident. Once they hit that incident count, and then they must perform a drive-through penalty, which is obviously, you see how long it takes to go down pit lane, so you end up losing about 40 seconds, so not something you want to do. So if you see a driver maybe being a little more cautious, especially towards the end, they don't want to take that penalty here. But right now, somebody not looking for any penalties and looking to finish this thing up is Christopher Hamilton, as he's got that 3-second lead over Devin Young and then Craig Jancic.
Yeah, coming around and out of the final corner, Chris Hamilton is going to be your winner here at Portimao, getting the W that he certainly wanted to get already last week, but he's going to get it here tonight. He is your winner. Devin Young going to come home in second, Jancic in third, rounding out your pro class and overall podium. Looking back here at your leader in the M class, Steve McLean, he's got a 7-second lead, so he would need to make major mistake here in the final 2 or 3 corners, but I don't see that happening at all, as McLean has been doing a great job out here tonight. He's going to bring the 85 around the final corner here, and he is going to claim the M-Class victory here in the Porsche. Let's take a look back, that 8.5 seconds to Randy Ayers as he comes around the final corner. He is going to bring it home in second place with a good run all the way to the line. This battle is gonna go to Renan de Lima, just getting ahead and holding off Anthony Hutchinson, and we'll show you why, as Hutchinson did have the position. It was going for second place with Randy Ayers before he made a dive bomb, got into the side of Ayers, up and over that big mountain of a curve there, and allowed de Lima to get around on the last lap. So good from a chance at second to falling back to fourth place. Max Dalton rounding out that top 5 in the M class, but I mean, you seen right there, we didn't see it too much during the race, but you seen how big that curve was when Hutchinson had to go up and over it. But Jimmy, heck of a race by these drivers out here. I think a well-deserved victory for Hamilton. Devin Young did a fantastic job there in second, but really all of these drivers, I think we had one retiring from the race. That was Madrigal. Other than that, it's been pretty clean out here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think, some heavy fight, and I'm sure, you know, obviously, like any good league, you know, they go back and they review anything. If, you know, somebody deserves a penalty or an after post race, something going up, but I don't think there's going to be much of that, or if it is, it's minor. So obviously just some great hard racing out there, and it was fun to watch everybody do their thing here at Algarve. And you know, this is, like I said, one of those tracks, it does have great racing. The opportunities were maybe a little bit harder to pass than you know, some would have liked, because, you know, you have to commit. If you're gonna make that inside pass, you gotta commit. So and if you're afraid to commit, then, well, you're just follow the leader until somebody makes a mistake. So, but either way, congratulations to the winners for both classes. So they will be making their way into the waiting room, so me and Carl could talk to them. Also, I appreciate and say thank you to all the fans out there that are watching. And if you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up. That help that algorithm there on YouTube. So, you know, maybe not just you enjoy watching your favorite driver out here, but maybe somebody random out on the internet come over and stop by and find a home here at CRN.
In the meantime, while we wait for these drivers, I want to thank our series sponsor here, and that's going to be 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel. Designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. For modern PC, they are focused on providing high quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is the exact same as racing with an actual car. They take that same methodology at Martin. From the engine PC to the chassis, rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter, you deserve components that match your desire to compete. It was a good one out here for these drivers, and certainly these guys up here in the podium positions. Well-deserved interviews here, so let's not waste any time and start bringing them up here and switch it up here a little bit, and I guess just make Chris wait a little, and we'll bring in the AM class first, and we'll start off with, of course, from the pit lane. It's going to be, no, there we go. That's why. It is Renan de Lima coming home in third place in the AM class in the 82. Renan, it looked like you might have been beat there by Anthony Hutchinson, but a little mix-up between him and Randy Ayers gives you that third place right here at the end. And, man, it feels like it's been a heck of a long time since we talked to you. I mean, has it been since your championship run that we got to talk to you in this booth?
No. When we spoke not long ago, a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't during the season, so maybe it doesn't count.
That don't count. That don't count.
Yes, we made fun of you for wrecking every other corner.
Private messaging doesn't count, but so you finally get up here and get to talk to us regardless in that 82 shake and bake machine. It seemed like clearly the Porsche was the car to pick here tonight. I mean, more than half the field in the Porsche. Was it the the kind of like the nimble feel of that car for this roller coaster of a course?
It felt good. I didn't get much practice on the course, but I kind of always play the numbers. So I'll go on, see kind of what everybody's picking and kind of, hope for the best. And it seems like the car was just well balanced. I took the turns pretty well. It stuck. Some wheel spin here and there, but other than that, I mean, it was planted. I didn't even realize I was battling for third, to be honest with you. I was just going. I was so focused that I'm like, let me just get these positions. And in the end, I was like, oh, okay, I got third. That was, just a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice that it works out like that. You're looking outside the top 10, but all of a sudden you realize, well, it's good enough for a top 3 in the M class there. So, congrats on the good win here tonight. Good to talk to you once again. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Always a shout out to you guys. You guys do a wonderful job week in, week out. I'm sure, you hear it all the time, but why not once more? Shout out to all the sponsors this season also. I believe a good friend of mine is probably watching. He always watches the races, Pat. I'll give him a big shout out. D82 Racing, a little joke we have going. Shout out to my wife, 9 months pregnant. Any day now she'll be delivering. So the fact that I could even do this, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I was watching my phone the whole time.
Every water broke.
Yes, every little notification, I was having a meltdown. But luckily, it all panned out.
Well, that's probably why you finished in third here. The quicker you get done, the quicker you can get off there and check on her, I'm sure. Well, either way, congrats on the podium here tonight, and we'll see. Maybe we see you next week. If not, congratulations early from us here in the booth. But either way, congratulations on the run here tonight.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night, all right?
Third place finisher in the AM class, 11th place overall, the 82 of Ren de Lima. Second place is going to be the 66 of Randy Ayers.
Hey, Randy, Jimmy and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
Hey, I copy. Yeah.
Hey, awesome. Hey, great run out there tonight. And we want to say congratulations on that second place finish there in the AM class. You were finished at 10th overall, so even a good job finishing overall. Is this track is definitely has its challenges, and but to see you up there and get a chance here to finish on the podium for the AM class, give us a little bit of how your race went for you, and how you battled the ups and downs and lefts and rights.
Yeah, I just tried to again stay clean and not be the mistake maker. It's one of those tracks where there's some off camber stuff where you got to be patient to get on the throttle, stuff where you got to brake a little bit earlier than you think. So it's very stick to that discipline and not wear your tires out, and that's what I tried to do, and turned out to be a pretty good strategy for me.
Yeah, you want to learn about wearing out tires. As the Porsche seems to fall off with their tires pretty quickly, usually before you guys need to pit. But I think the playing field was pretty even out there tonight. It's about 3/4 of the field were all in Porsche. So either way, you did a great job. You held on to it to get yourself that second place finish here. And we wanted to say congratulations up here in the booth, obviously, and give you a little time for any shouts you might have in that car.
Yeah, hey, I just want to congratulate Renan and Stephen on their wins as well, and podium in AM class. And thank you guys for broadcasting this race every week. Always look forward to that. And all my fellow competitors, just fun racing with you guys every week. So really look forward to it and enjoy it.
Yeah, we enjoy watching everybody each and every week out here as well. And it's like a nice little family. You get to kind of join in and join in on the fun. So, but again, congratulations. And hopefully we'll see you next week. We'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That is your second place finisher here in the AM class, the 66 of Randy Ayers. Do need to make a little bit of a change here, and I updated the overlays to show it to. But Cesar Colon Torres actually was leading at the time. He was your AM class leader when he ended up getting taken out there towards the end. But your winner here for the AM class is going to be the 85 of Stephen McLean. Stephen, heck of a battle all the way to the end, but it was all behind you. You had a 7-second buffer between you and the battling going on there for the rest of the podium. And you were in the right car here tonight. The Porsche pretty much dominated here in the field at Portimao. How was your race out there?
Oh man, it was crazy. I'm just happy to be here. It was definitely all a Porsche battle. Not exactly how I wanted it to go. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Tyler, who I recruited onto my racing team, Ace Motorsports, and his father, Todd. Me and Anthony started this out, and I was hoping for a P1 and 2 finish with us, Ace Motorsports and AM. But it was a heck of a race. He almost came back there at the last lap or two and took third or second, but it was a close battle. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Cesar, man. Cesar had some bad luck right at the last 2 laps or so. But I was sitting good for P2, and I was happy with that, but I'll definitely take P1. It's very awesome, and glad to do this.
So how much experience did you have with Algarve coming in here tonight? I know it's a kind of a newer track here to iRacing. You've been on the service for a little bit, but certainly a lot newer than a track like last week at Watkins Glen.
So I've only ever done one other endurance race in it, actually with Tyler, and we got P1. It was a IMSA endurance race, so that's my only other time did it though. So 2 P1s back to back. That's pretty crazy.
So we'll see if Jim can just clutter the schedule with Algarve next season for you. It's certainly it fits your eye. Sometimes you have those tracks that just fit your eye. Well, congrats on the AM class win here tonight. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Just all my buddies over at Ace Motorsports, man. We're having a blast, and we're going to keep going. So let's do it, guys.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on the win, the 9th place overall as well. We'll let you go celebrate, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Winner here in the AM class, the 85 of Stephen McLean. Now we'll get over to the Pro class, and we'll take in our 3rd place finisher here tonight, and it's going to be the 88 of Craig Jancic.
Hey, Craig, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth. Typically not where we talk to you at back here at B number 3, but we just, obviously great racing up front, especially at the beginning of the back and forth between you and Chris and Devin was just amazing. But I know you guys are limited on cars for the season, but is that Lamborghini going to have some troubles throughout the rest of the season on some of these tracks where the Porsche is so dominant?
I don't know, honestly. I don't have what I hope for, I guess, is that my hatred, disdain, etc. for this racing facility is why we were so far off tonight. I don't think that the Lamborghini agrees with this track, but I know that the Mustang didn't either. And one of the wise men at Core Racing Network once told me that you win your championships on your bad days. And to still get to talk to you and feel like we had a really rough race out here tonight, I think is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely had your challenges in the Lambo, and obviously it looks like Bryce did as well. And just looking at the field and all the Porsches out there, so you definitely had your, you're kind of wondering if you made that bad selection, on your car choices for this season. I did get a chance before the race, or while you guys were practicing. I was ghost lapping in the Mustang because you guys ran it so well at Watkins, and I was like, man, this thing is like almost a second off as far as pace goes. And I'm not the fastest here. I ran some,
so that's just
some
you,
races
Jimmy.
here, but Yeah, that's probably true too. But either way, I just knew it was off. It just didn't feel right. It felt real pushy and tight, and it was easy to burn off the rears as well. So, but either way, yeah. I mean, like you said, if we've said in the past, you win your best, you win championships and on your worst races. But if third is your worst, I really don't think you have much to worry about for the rest of the season. So it's still a great showing, and obviously getting to talk to you here in the booth. So we want to say congratulations on, I guess, in your disappointing run, finishing third, and give you a chance for any shouts you may have at I-88.
Yeah, huge thanks to the field, honestly, first of all, for showing up here tonight. I understand that the majority of iRacers didn't own this track before showing up here tonight. So kudos to our loyal participants that were able to do so. I really appreciate everybody showing up every week. Thanks to you guys at Core Racing Network as well. Best of the best broadcasts, and the first couple laps, I know we're going to be displayed in amazing decor here. And I look forward to watching the whole race back like always. Thanks to everybody that supports me, Team Conti Sim Performance, Digital Sim Sports, Studio 3, Martin PC, Magic. Can't forget my most loyal and amazing family, Mom, Dad, Aunt Sandy, Anna. Thank you for all your support as well. We'll roll on with we got the one track on the entire schedule that I despise out of the way, and now the grass is much greener on the other side. Looking forward to catching the jet over to Italy next week and hitting Mugello.
Yeah, Mugello is another a magnificent track, and I've had some fun races there as well. So look forward to seeing what you can put out on the track over there. But again, congratulations on your third place finish here tonight, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Sounds good, buddy. Take care.
Third place finisher here tonight overall and the pro class is going to be the 88 of Craig Jancic. Second is going to be the 15 of Devin Young. Devin, nice. You had a heck of a run out here tonight. We bring in here, of course, in the middle of a conversation, but
Ninja.
I mean, you were in the middle of the conversation all night. You were up there battling the three you guys, breaking away, and you even kind of stuck your nose in there a little bit right in the beginning, trying to move up there. But you shuffle out, you find yourself in second, running right behind Hamilton. He ducks into the pit. Maybe a lap earlier than you expected. Was that always going to be the play, around that time? Were you going to always play it as trying to go for the overcut? Did he kind of surprise you going in that lap? What was the case when it comes to the pit stop?
Yeah, I didn't know it would be close. Like I tried to save a little bit of fuel behind him. It kind of hurt me a lot actually, because I thought I had enough to get all the way in, but I actually sputtered down the pit lane a little bit, so I would have lost I don't know, not that much time, but a little bit of time. I guess, yeah, I just hope that maybe, in this race, if somebody that's midfield is able to stay out once in a while, going the extra lap might be beneficial, because he could have come out and maybe sat behind somebody. Whereas trying to get that extra lap, you kind of guarantee that you're pitting on the same lap as anyone behind you, so you shouldn't fall into any traffic. But part of it too is just doing the opposite and seeing what happens. But yeah, it didn't work out. I also put too much fuel in, so not by much, maybe a lap too much. But
well, he came out about 2.5, almost 3 seconds behind Hamilton after being right on his bumper. But kind of middle of that second stint, you started putting in some laps and eking into that time and got it all the way down to, I think it was down to 1.7 seconds at one point. So was it just putting in some good hot laps there? Did you think maybe Hamilton was going to hold him back? What was the case going on right there?
I'm not sure about him. I was driving pretty good. I was pushing, and then this is an interesting track because you can push pretty hard, but as soon as if you kind of damage the tire a little bit, it does hurt you for a few turns. So it's a bit of a risk reward. And I was in a bit of a groove for a bit there. And then I made a little mistake. Once I got to about 1.6, I think I made a little touch of a mistake, fell down to about 2.1, and then I thought, I had a 5 or 4 second gap behind, and I figured I would just try to stay right where I was. Maybe he makes a mistake and I capitalize on it, but I didn't want to push too much after that. A little bit of a lap car maybe cost me half a second at one point as well, but nothing they did wrong, just Yeah, I think that pit stop phase was probably the point where I wish that I had done a couple things just slightly different, just to be right on his bumper for that last stint. I don't know if I could have got him. He wasn't slow anywhere, so yeah, it would have just had to be. And there's not that many passing opportunities here, so maybe down into the hairpin or something. But would have been a lot more fun being on his bumper like I was at the end of the first stint.
So we know you guys only have the choice of 2 cars for the season. You guys have to pick which 2 cars you want to run for the entire season. You may be kind of on the back foot a little bit last week at Watkins Glen, where pretty much the entire field was in the Ford Mustang, and you couldn't get yourself up there towards the top of the boards. But here tonight, it's certainly paid off, staying in the Porsche that you ran just like last week, and it gets you the premium car here for the track. I mean, more than half the field out here in the Porsche. It paid off very nicely. You're able to run away from the Lamborghinis there of Jancic and Reiner towards the end as well. So, I mean, I assume maybe not last week, but now, are you happy picking the Porsche as one of your 2 cars?
I am, yeah. It's interesting when you get the 2-car selection. I'm not sure if I made the right pick. I took the Acura as well, so we'll see how that goes. I'm not a huge fan of the Mustang, even though it does have pace in some places. Definitely, I like the Porsche because it's really good on any circuit that has long corners and stuff. It's just got such good traction. Once you just kind of dial out the understeer and get the rear moving. So I'm a pretty big Porsche fan, and I think when I looked at the calendar, I saw this track next week. I know we go to Imola. Somewhere else, I think it'll be pretty good. So there'll be a few tracks where I think it'll be the car to have, but maybe not by as much as this one. Because I mean, if Craig's anywhere off the pace, you know that there's a car advantage involved. So.
Not that you mind at all.
No, hey, take it when you can, right? But it's not very often that if I'm in front of Craig, I can pull away from him. So, be happy to be in the right car for the night.
Exactly. Well, congrats on a good run out here tonight. I know you came 1 spot short, but second place out here on a track that doesn't really get driven on too much is got to feel pretty good to set you up for the rest of the season. So, congrats on the run tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Oh no, just thanks to you guys. Thanks to the guys that run the league. It's a lot of fun, and always look forward to Wednesdays.
All right, buddy. Well, let's see if we can keep up that pace in that Porsche for the rest of the season, and hopefully we'll be talking again soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Second place finisher here tonight in the 15 Porsche. That is going to be Devin Young. Winner here tonight, Jimmy, is going to be the 64 of Chris Hamilton.
Chris, Jimmy Carlton in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good.
Hey, a little bit of a redemption night here from Watkins Glen, and being able to have one heck of a battle up front with Devon Young and Craig Jancic there from the rip. And the Lamborghini seemed to fall off tonight instead of the Porsche falling off. So you get to basically walk away. You did a little bit of an undercut there from Devin, and you'll talk with Devin a little bit. It sounds like he made maybe a few choices in the pits that cost him allow you to get out to that nice lead there at the end. But we want to say congratulations on the win here, of course, but we want your side of the story and how things went for you for the evening.
Pit entry was very important for tonight. I've been caught out myself by this pit entry, so it's been and that was one of the big focus that I did. I think I did like 3 to 4 pit entries, like a couple in qualifying, a couple in practice, just to make sure that I knew exactly where I'm going to be braking. And as this is definitely a Porsche heavy track, it was always that way in the officials. So I was like, all right, well, I have the Porsche in my back pocket. It's a lot better than the Mustang, at least in my opinion here. So that's what we went with.
Yeah, definitely. I only had the opportunity. No, I've been on this track with other cars, the Mercedes and the McLaren, LMP2, LMP3. Definitely tried the Ford tonight, and I was like, I hope these drivers aren't racing this tonight because it's going to be hands-full. And as everybody was coming into the session, I seen all the Porsches, and I was like, well, that makes sense. So definitely the right choice of car here tonight, and it was a fun watch. It looked like some great racing and some great driving by pretty much everybody. But again, here from the booths, as always, we want to say congratulations and give you some time for any shouts you might have at the 64 here this week.
Huge shout out to Parks de la Cruz, who did this iRacing safety car paint scheme. I was getting flack last week for teaming up with the safety car, saying, you know what, let me just hop back in this thing. I really like this thing. A huge shout out to both Devin and Craig for some heck of a battle, but it was still clean too. It was respectful, hard but respectful racing, and all the other guys out there on the track with us. And thank you guys for the broadcast.
I really appreciate the shout outs and obviously the watching everybody doing the great battling on track as always. But I guess until next time, we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family, and we'll catch you next week at Magello.
All right, here's to it, boys.
That is your winner here tonight. Second place last week at Watkins Glen, but he gets a top step here tonight. Chris Hamilton in the 64. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in here once again to CRN. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. We stick here in Europe for round number 3, but we go from the Atlantic coast to the Mediterranean coast, and we head over to Italy for Mugello, as that is a fun little track over there, and certainly tons of speed, tons of big old straightaways there, especially that front stretch. It is a long straightaway to go from the final corner to turn number 1. And then we will head back to America for race number 5 at Road America. But it's been a fun couple of races to start this season. Kind of an old faithful Watkins Glen, a newer one here with Algarve, and then another newer one here with Mugello coming next week. But you're gonna have to tune in to CRN to see round number 3 next week. But for now, for myself and Jimmy here at the Algarve International Circuit, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.